We have 25 countries contributing and using CMIP data. We have 43 institutions, 131 models are being run in CMIP research. We have 322 experiments, and that's already huge, and many more CMIP can offer in our science world. Our task team for CMIP 7, we have the data access team, which Robert and Ben are leading. We have the data citation, data request, forcings, and model benchmarking, model documentation, strategic ensemble design, and then the new one, the fresh eyes on CMIP, which I will introduce also to you. So here is the CMIP 7 data access task team. And this team is going to identify the key barriers to data provisioning and access across different reasons and levels of access. And this, you can see there are different people from different background or continents in the world. So we have here Robert leading and Ben as well. Then I don't want to go through all the names here, but every region across the world has a representation. And the map here shows how the CMIP task team is distributed from a diverse group. We have for every continent a representation on the task group. We have the fresh eyes on CMIP, and their mission is a new working group comprising of scientists, researchers, practitioners early in their career to sit alongside CMIP 7 task group. So we'll be working together with the fresh eyes, and they directly integrate the voices of the early career researchers into CMIP. So that's so that we can guide them in participating in CMIP activities. So they are also to provide invaluable insight into the integration, access, and analysis of CMIP data. So CMIP is providing all that you need. And this is the team of Fresh Eyes on CMIP Data Access Subgroup. So you can see everyone's face there. And there's a session there, a dinner, a lunch session sometime with them for interaction. Okay, so I think that's about all. Thank you. We have a Slido session, which is going to be led by Lincoln, and please participate in it as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Nana. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our interactive discussion section, where we aim to dive into the critical issues surrounding data provision and access, particularly to the context of the CMIP data. As you may know, the CMIP has seen an increased exponential use from different perspectives and different users. But the key challenge you face is ensure the equitable access to CMIP data, recognize that users come from increasingly diverse background, can access this data, and from different for this different proposal. So in our section here, we prepare some questions that help us to understand a little bit the barriers, the challenges, and the wishes in terms of the access, the data, and that we will pass very quickly for these questions that primarily discuss streamlined data supply, enhance the user experience, community to develop access to compute and analysis platform, and reduce technical and research limitation. So let's start to test the Slido if everyone are connected. So please join the Slido. .coin, just type the code 1076201. So the first question, just to, as I said, it's just to what you're feeling in terms of the access to the data CMIP. Yeah, I think most of people are happy. Let's count 20, at least 20, and you can move for the next question. There is someone sad, overwhelmed, crazy. Yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah, I think we can move for the next question. Where do you access the CMIP data? Please type if as the main platform, as you may know, is ESGF, but there are a lot of different platforms that provide this data, like Copernicus, Pangeo, just to provide some information. Interactive Atlas, good to know. In-car, platform, local store. Node. Yeah, I think in general, the ESGF, it's the most platform that allow people access the CMIP data. Yeah, CMIP Web, Atlas. Yeah, let's next. Have you previously given up using CMIP data for research due to technical difficult access the data? Ooh. Fifth. No, yeah, almost, yeah. Okay, next, Beth. Thank you. What the technical difficulty have you faced when access the CMIP data? I mean, what is the most difficult that you face? In my case, for instance, it's huge to download a terabyte of data for my local machine or my local storage. Yes, low internet is one of the main problems. Many files, yeah. Data formats, different variable names, download scripting with incorrect reference, take too long time to download. With criteria, some data are no longer available. Data format again. wget scripts has incorrect reference, understand the technical terms. Yeah, it's interesting to see different difficulties that people are facing. I think we can move for the next, Beth. Where do you analyze the CMIP data? In your local computing and national cloud service like Jasmine or DKRZ or Pangeo or other? Yes, I think it's institutional and local. Seems quite the same. Yeah, we are around 23 votes. So yeah, thank you. We can move for the next. What tool do you use to aid the process, access, download, and store the CMIP data? Do you have idea? X-ray, CDO, Geo, Python scripts, and CO. CDS, it's a Python, yeah, X-ray. No one use R. Iris. Yeah, we have around 20, so I think we can move for the next. I think this is very clear based on the previous answer that we got. So is the vocabulary used to describe CMIP data difficult to understand? Yeah, 50-50, almost. 4. Yeah, it's around 50, yeah. Next, yeah. Where do you go to find information about CMIP data? In the SGF documentation or papers or in national reports? Papers, journal papers, SGF. Colleagues, papers, and need CDF heads, FF documentation, mods manual. Yeah, it's interesting to see the most information came from papers. Yeah. IPCC. Yeah, good. So papers definitely is the one of the reference. The next one is what could be done to make CMIP data easy to understand. Better website. Video introduction. Yeah, definitely I think we can work on that. Interactive maps on the website, better research options, train, friendly interface, give the option to subset data, provide better, simpler documentation, more fast way to access, training videos, yeah, it's and the user-friendly interface. Yeah, it's good. Case study of application. Yeah, I think the friendly interface and training, it's one of the key challenge that we have here in this question. Yeah, next, please. What single change do you think that to access CMIP data would be most reduce barriers? Cloud computing, data subsetting, user-friendly website, consistent remote access, no so download, cloud compute for analysis, friendly data format, data homogenization, light data. It's a cloud, appears several times, friendly website, guide of appropriate use of the experiment and variables. It's a good suggestion. And tools to facilitate ocean vector analysis. Possible to select desired region. Yeah, this is one of the interesting open process analysis platform with examples less process require. Yeah, interesting to see the suggestions. And Beth, next, please. What do you, the single aspect is most important to retain? Retain the data, the CMIP data. Verse of data and documentation, openness. Open the purpose, variable standard, open access, guidelines, possibility to visualize. Yeah, I think we have most of the answers. Next. It's finished. Oh, cool. So yeah, thanks for your participation in these interactive sections. As I said in the beginning, this idea is to engage in the open collaborative discussion to identify this barrier and how can we facilitate the access, the data for the next generation of the CMIP and unlock the full potential CMIP data for the benefit of all. Now, we have the opportunity to discuss. I will pass the mic for my colleague Luciana and Mohammed to lead this part of this section. Thank you.
So just to quickly explain, for this Q&A section, we'll take questions in the room. You're welcome to come up to the microphone and ask your questions. Equally, if you'd like to if you'd prefer to type your question, or for those who are joining us online, if you go to the Q&A tab in the same Slido that we were just on, you can type your question. And so we'll take a mixture from in the room and on the Slido. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Nana and Lincoln, for explaining. And yeah, thank you, Elizabeth. As you have seen, we have like multiple 43% of people in the Slido have mentioned that they have difficulties or barriers to access the data. So I would be happy to know what kind of barriers you have. And if you have like multiple barriers, so please be brief and come to the microphone here, and we'll be happy to listen. And these recommendations will definitely be conveyed to the relevant people who've been preparing the data, and it will, as you know, that this process is all collaborative, and we will be writing down your suggestions, and so please come to the microphone there and be happy to listen what kind of challenges all around the world, well, like we have. So please, yeah.
Also, I'd like to tell you that if you have suggestions for the interactive atlas, it will be welcomed as part of the Fresh Eyes initiative. We have plans to work on this, so please give your suggestions.
Okay. Ooh, sorry. Thank you. Yeah. So one of the difficulties that I perceive or barriers is actually understanding the appropriate use of different simulations and like groups of data, right? Different data. And so I'm curious whether or not this task team has really given any thought to the need to manage or provide guidance to reduce the possibility of misuse in your goals to provide equitable access to data. And if that's not maybe one of the things that this task team has thought about, are there other CMIP task teams that are concerned with reducing the possibility of misuse? Because as we go to kind of using CMIP data for actionable purposes, there's a possibility, right, that data misuse actually leads to downstream harms. And so presumably it's one of the responsibilities of the provisioners of the data to try to reduce this risk. And so I'm curious where in CMIP maybe that's been discussed, if it has been discussed, or if that's maybe a conversation that CMIP and something like the data access task team would be willing to have about how to maybe do that better.
Yeah, this has been discussed in many meetings as well. So, you know, there are 8 more, we are total 8 more teams, and we definitely include this in our suggestions. So please, if we have like more questions, we'll be happy to have. Please come in a queue if there are like more people. So.
Well, a very good afternoon, and thank you for this interactive session and the presentation earlier. I'm Mandira Singh Shrestha, and I come from Isimod from Nepal. So a region where, of course, in South Asia, computing as well, the resources are quite limited to start with. So that's itself becomes a barrier. But in terms of the size and the volume of the data that needs to be downloaded, we've faced many difficulties in terms of downloading of such huge resources, in fact, data resources. So that's one key barrier. The other one is also with respect to the time that is involved. You know, who's going to download the data? Is it mainly the research organizations or researchers? When it comes to the hydromet agencies, the National Meteorological and Hydrological Services, often they do not have the time to sit there and download all these huge data sets as an operational agency. So how can we really kind of make that these data are available to them? You know, not taking so much time for data download and then looking at different formats in order to really use that or analyze those data sets. So those are some of the key barriers that we see when we provide the training. So I also like the map that you showed in terms of where the different focal points are around the globe. So I see that Amjad is in our region, in South Asia. So I was just wondering what would be a way where we could foster the use of and create that awareness for the region. You know, maybe a training or some kind of now there's a lot of virtual also events, maybe virtual event or something of kind where we introduce these data sets to a larger number of audiences and also this use of it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much for the presentation so far on CMIP. Last week, I was having a conversation with both of my supervisors about how to get background information on the model I'm using. I'm working with 10 CMIP6 model at the moment. So there's a specific variable we are looking for that we need to combine with other variables to make static calculation, right? And for some reason, we are unable to find the variable in the CMIP6 data set. So we asked someone who has done similar experiment before with CMIP6 models and CMIP5 models. So what he told us was that he had to contact the people that did the experiment with those models before uploading the output on CMIP6. So my question is, if those models are CMIP6 models, how come some variables that will be important for the calculation of some other variable that we needed for the analysis are not uploaded on the CMIP side? So the second question is, at times when you are looking for certain variables, different variables that come from the same experiment, right, that you needed for probably certain calculation, at times it's tricky getting them together, right? Like, because there's a way they kind of list them. This is the experiment. So you need to have the combination of those variables so that you are dealing with one experiment. But at times it's tricky actually getting, maybe it's just one of them that's missing. So you have to look for another experiment. So yeah, so my question is it possible to look for another experiment that have that particular variable and combine it with another experiment that have the other variables you are looking for? Will that, so will the result you are getting from that particular combination, right, of different experiments, is this something that I could boldly discuss as, giving me the result that is publishable, right? So I don't know if the question is clear. Okay, cool. Thank you.
So yeah, answering to the previous question, yeah, Mahindra, thank you for the question. And I would say, yeah, the online trainings and the sessions were really important, and they will definitely be helpful. And regarding to the Joseph question, I mean, these variables are decided before the cycle start, and few variables are like derived variables. So you have to use those variables and then make a new variable like from those existing variables. Yeah, so please, next question. And I also want to say that please, we want to have the diversity from all regions if the challenges they are facing in their particular institution or region. So I'll be happy. We will be happy to listen all of them. So please, yeah, sir.
Thank you for the discussion of this data access. One kind of question or thing that I've run into with using the CMIP6 data is even if you're looking at an individual variable from an individual model, there's not really a lot of documentation on which run for different experiments you want to use. And I'm just wondering if that's where you should go to get information about, do I want to use run 1 or run 11 based on which SSP it's following within if I'm looking at trying to compare specific variables. So that just seems to be a part where the documentation is a little bit lacking as to what the difference between the runs are.
Thank you.
So, hi, my name is Victoria from AIMS. Thank you very much for your presentation. And my question is going to Professor Nana regarding the CMIP7 data. We know that there is CMIP6 data that you talked about previously. And my worry, I don't know, I'm a little bit confused, asking myself, why are you guys working now on the CMIP7? Though the CMIP6 was very recent, and we are still continue working on that. So what is the reason behind this work on the CMIP7? Thank you very much.
Can I answer? Okay, thank you. In the modeling community, we try to improve upon our work. So I'll just stay here. So like we have CMIP5, CMIP6 was an improvement upon CMIP5, and so CMIP7, it's also going to be an improvement on CMIP6. As we are in the room asking for the various challenges, it is also to help us make input into the CMIP7. So simply to make improvement based on how much we are understanding the climate system. So we improve the models as we move. I hope that's fine with you. Thank you.
I just wanted to bring in a couple of the questions from online. So the top comment here that's been highlighted is if you guys, or even if anybody else in the room has any comments on barriers that kind of are more due to technical knowledge versus barriers that maybe are due to the lack of sufficient computing resources. If anyone has any comments on that, we'd really welcome it. And also, again, to you guys at the front, is anything being done to move towards more open, free access to cloud computing? Because obviously that would potentially help with some of the issues due to local data downloads and storage. Thanks.
Start to the last question. I think the cloud computer can help a lot, the access, the data. However, remember one of the questions, or the answer that we got from the audience is that we have a lot of problem in the internet connections. So we have difficult to face in terms of the access the data. Sometimes we have this cloud computer infrastructure, however, we don't have a good internet to access this cloud computer. So it's a trick. And I forgot the last one, the first one, sorry, Beth. Do you remember that?
Yeah. So as you know, I mean, understanding technology is one side and understanding that technology is another one. So definitely as we are like going in future, so utilization of cloud and other like computation, it will be becoming easier and more people will be trained in the South. Yeah, so this kind of barriers, and we also have like WCRP Academy, and where there these kind of trainings can be arranged. So yeah, please, next question here.
Oh, please, I just want to say something about the cloud thing. Is that one of the good ideas about interactive platform is that we could maybe choose one particular area so you can reduce the size of the file, for example. And then this could be an alternative for not using cloud, for example. So these are things that we are thinking about. Please.
Wait. Hi. So one of the problems I faced when accessing data was that I work in a cloud, in a server that's the Barcelona Supercomputing Center. So it has a lot of security barriers. So I couldn't use the widget scripts to download the data in my cloud. So I had to do it locally, file per file, and like processing every file, then concatenating, then uploading them to the server. So it's like very consuming time task that, I don't know, maybe it could be something to solve this kind of security barriers to improve these kind of situations. Thank you.
These security barriers were regarding your institution?
Yeah.
Okay. Any more questions or comments? No? No? Okay. Thanks, everybody.
So I think we're just before we wrap up, we're going to hear sort of a final closing statement from each of our 4 speakers from today, and then I'll just do a quick wrap up right at the end. Thank you.
Yeah, just for wrap up, thank you very much for your participation in these interactive sections. As I said in the beginning, the idea is to capture all the different barriers and difficult to access this data, and also to get new ideas how can we improve this access, this data. We took notes and passed and discussed among us and among the CMIP task groups. And I hope we, in the next generation of the global data, we have more friendly interface that allow us to to access in a more it's a good way all these huge data that not the climate community is interesting, but different actors that looking for this kind of information to develop region analysis. Yeah, thank you very much. I don't know if Nana wanna say the last thing.
Okay. Thank you all for your participation. Just to add that CMIP is getting bigger and better, and you cannot be left out. And you can also realize that we acknowledge the enthusiasm and the exuberance of the early career researchers, and so we've made provision for you. So get involved as much as possible, and we are available to support you. Get in touch with your point of contact in your continent, and I believe all the difficulties in accessing the data will be addressed. Thank you very much.
Yes, I would like to thank everyone who contributed with questions or suggestions. We are going to think about it and we'll try to make easier access to CMIP data. So thanks.
So, taking the information from data, and there's like different kind of barriers. Once we have data, there's like barriers for that. And once we have data, there are multiple challenges which started from there to how to use the data as been raised in the first, so that we don't misuse and all kind of information is desired, and these are the key challenges which we are taking from here. So yeah, thank you so much, and over to Elizabeth.
Yeah, so if you'd like to all just join me first in saying a massive thank you to the 4 people who've led our event today on our data access capacity. So thank you so much also to all of you for coming and providing this feedback. A lot of the points you've made are excellent. Some we were aware of, some we weren't. So thank you so much. We don't necessarily have answers to all of the problems, unfortunately. They're big questions and they're really hard to answer. But I can assure you we're trying. We're discussing it in our task team meetings, which are regular. The feedback from today's session that maybe is useful for one of our other task teams, such as the model documentation task team, we'll also make sure we forward on to the relevant people. So thank you so much for all of that. And finally, we've got a number of other CMIP relevant events at the OSC this week. We've got an event tonight joint with Cordex where we'll be displaying some evaluation and analysis tools. In that event in particular, I'll be giving a demonstration of the new CMIP website we've got, which has new pieces of documentation, which hopefully might alleviate some of the things you've raised today. So I do really encourage you to come along if you're around. We've also got a panel discussion tomorrow on how to increase collaboration and participation from the Global South within our climate modelling community. We've got a really exciting lineup of speakers, so again, I encourage you to come along. On Wednesday, we've got an interactive World Cafe session, and that will be focusing on kind of this modelling observational data interface. And finally, on Thursday, we're going to do a bit of a community lunch social. So basically grab your lunchbox and come and meet us at the WCRP booth. And it'll be a great chance to meet CMIP colleagues, people working on CMIP, and other friends around the conference. All of our events can be found at this link on our website or use the QR code. And thanks again for coming along. We really appreciate all the feedback.